Bowl season's here, and
Yep.
playoff games are coming up. The big ones are starting
Wednesday
New
and
Year's
Thursday,
Eve.
yeah.
New Year's Eve day, and then the next day, and so forth. So it'll be interesting. But it's sort of interesting, Pat. I got up today and I was thinking about the bowl games. You know, everybody, the bowls are out of date, and blah blah blah. And when I first my first bowl game, I guess was at Duke, and I'm coming to Florida the day after the game, so I tell our team, I said, fellas, I love you. I got a chance to go to my alma mater, and I'm taking the Florida job, and tomorrow will be our last game together. And I remember I yelled at one of the guys who was loafing on a kickoff return. He looked at me like, you ain't my coach anymore. No.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Great show for you today. Coach Spurrier will be in. We'll talk to him about guys getting splashed with Gatorade, stuff like that. But we'll talk to him about the bowl games and everything that's going on. For our Yes, No, Where, Maybe today, Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com will join us. Robbie's actually out. They spent Christmas with their whole family out in like Jackson Hole. He was sending me pictures of snow and everything. It was cool, very cool. I, of course, was on a cruise. I had fun too. We both had fun. You can have fun in the cold. You can have fun in the heat. I even got sunburned. So Coach Spurrier will be in today. On Thursday's show, on the 1st, we are doing a show. We'll get it done early. And so you can watch it before the bowl games or the playoff games. And that is Cornelius Ingram is going to join us. Of course, the coach at Hawthorne and one of the great players in Florida history and one of the great guys in Florida. We'll ask him about CJ, too, and how he's doing. I would think CJ would get a chance to play tonight. And then we'll have Coach Spurrier next Monday, and then Scott Strickland will join us on the 8th. That Thursday, so we'll look forward to that. I've got a lot of good questions for him. Send me any questions you have, and maybe I'll ask them as well. All right, so the cruise was awesome. That's, my wife, I cannot thank her enough for putting it all together and getting everybody in the right places at the right time, and really went off without a hitch. We loved it. We had a great time. Service was incredible, so I need to give them a celebrity cruise is what we went on, so I want to give them a plug. It was just fun. All right. And I am relaxed and ready to go. I've been writing a lot on Patreon. Got a contest coming up on that if you want to get on there. All the people who always say, oh, Pat, we miss you. Well, here's a chance to read me all the time because I'm writing more than I've written since I retired, to be honest with you. Patreon.com/Dooley Noted is where you can read that. Right now, you're listening to another Dooley Noted podcast, so let's get to our Royal Blue starting five. And it is brought to you by our friend Randy Royal at Royal Blue Yacht Sales, the only place to go and buy a boat. I was on a big boat. I don't think Randy's selling those boats. That boat was so gigantic. I mean, it was 15 floors high plus, it was pretty awesome. Anyway, all right, let's get to number one. The number one thing going on right now is you can't help but get on your phone a lot and look at Twitter or whatever social media accounts you go to and try to see who's transferring, who's not. That's pretty much the only way you have of finding out who's getting in the portal, who's not. Summerall has his staff ready to go now, and they've already been recruiting really well for next year's class, of course. But we're going to find out. And the problem is you can't even get too upset about the guys who have left. Now, I saw this story on Twitter about the teams that have had the most players leave. Oklahoma State, and this is not surprising, Oklahoma State, number 1, 43, got a new coach. I think Iowa State, coach left. They're in second. FSU, coach almost got fired. They're in third. And then Florida is at 23 players that have left, same as Auburn. And everybody's saying Auburn's ship is sinking, but I don't hear it about Florida because you know why? Most of the guys who are leaving are probably leaving for a reason. Lagway's leaving because he didn't want to compete. with anybody. He wanted to be enabled the way he was with Billy Napier. That's my opinion, but I believe that strongly. There's other players that are, Trey Wilson, I get it. He'd probably make a lot of money, and Florida's going to be a running team, I think, more than they're going to throw it, but they may throw it around some, but other receivers are coming back, VB3. But, okay, Trey Wilson's gone. You hate to see him go. You really do. Jordan Castell, a lot of you don't care that he's leaving. But the bottom line is, it's not like they've been hit that hard right now. The Jaden Ball one's a big one, but look, I think Jaden Ball's going to go to Texas, and I think that's why both of their running backs got in the portal, because they know that's happening, and it'll happen. And if it happens, it happens. He's just one player, okay? It's not the end of the world. I know everybody wants him to stay. I know. But you still kept the nucleus of what you hoped you would get. Most of the guys that are leaving are guys, some that I wasn't even aware were on the team. But again, I don't study the roster the way I used to. But it's all going to be fine, is what I'm trying to say. There's no reason for anybody to panic. But the portal is a different world we live in. There is some loyalty. I don't know but are you loyal to the check you're going to get every month? Or are you loyal to the school? Or are you loyal to your girlfriend? There's a lot of questions about the loyalty of these players, and I think it's a bad message that's being sent, but there's no way to unsend it. But the message being sent is, if you don't like it where you are, just quit and go somewhere else and maybe get more money. Or if you don't think you're making enough money, even though experts have told you this is what you're worth, but you don't think that's right, go somewhere else. You can maybe get more. You can find one school that wants you really bad. And that'll happen for you. So, look, it is what it is, and we'll just keep following it and see what happens. But we're not going to know what Florida's first team is going to look like for a long time. I wrote a column for Patreon, the Back Nine, which I write all the time, and the lead was about how I can't tell you what Summerall's first season is going to be. I have no idea, zero, because I don't know who their quarterback's going to be for sure. I don't know. How many guys are coming back? I don't know who they're going to get in the portal. They may kill it in the portal. They may not. Don't forget, they're recruiting to a program that's claim to fame over the last 5 years as it went to the couple of Gasparilla Bowls. I mean, this is what Florida has become. And it's sad, and we all know that, and we're all depressed and angered by it. But, it's not like you can say, hey, come here and win a championship. You can say it, but, I don't know who would believe it. Anyway, I think you get my point. All right. Let's go to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is the SEC hate that is going out there on social media. It is unbelievable, mainly because, LSU losing their bowl game. And again, LSU had a bunch of guys opt out, and they didn't have their head coach, who was fired in the middle of the season. I mean, it's been a terrible season for them. They're playing their backup quarterback. I'm not surprised they lost to Houston, but gosh, people are making such a big deal of it. Look, if you want to say Missouri was a fraud all year, you didn't go back and listen to me at the beginning of the season. I said they were a fraud then, that they shouldn't be ranked at all because their schedule was so soft. It was the only soft schedule in the SEC. And, of course, they proved it by losing, and they lost their last game without their starting quarterback. But the SEC is overhyped and everything. Well, let's see how – we all know that one team is going to be – from the SEC is going to be in the semifinals because Ole Miss and Georgia play each other, and they may have two, half of the semifinal. The SEC is fine. It's still the best conference. Stop it. You guys need to lay off because you're wrong. You're wrong. The SEC is still the best. That's how I feel about it. And bowls are look, if you're not playing for a championship, they're irrelevant. And this is the problem I have. They matter to me. I watch them. I care who wins every bowl game. I pick a team to root for. A lot of times it's pretty obvious. But the bottom line is the playoffs have detracted from the bowls, mainly because they've taken more teams away from the bowls. That's the biggest thing the playoffs have done. They've taken 12, when it was 4, There were still 8 pretty good teams that were playing in bowl games. Now they're not. They're not playing those bowl games. They're playing for the championship. Maybe we need to make a deal where you play, if you want to go play in a bowl after that, you can do that. If you get knocked out. I don't know. I don't know the answer. There's a lot of things I don't have answers for in college football. It is a quagmire right now. That's the only way to put it. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and let's just talk happy, because I'm happy the playoffs are ready to go into their second round, which is the big round, the round we really care about. I wanted to give you the spreads on those. Ohio State 9.5 over Miami in the Cotton Bowl. That seems like a lot. I'd take Miami. I think Miami could win that game. I think they're good enough. They've got the talent. I think they're a team that can match Ohio State's talent. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I'd mentioned this in my column too. The Ohio State-Miami game that was played in 2003, the Fiesta Bowl for the national championship, is irrelevant to anything that has to do with this game. So please quit bringing it up. I know, no, if you're writing a story about that game, I get it. But please don't tie it into this year's game. Some people have done that, is all I'm saying. Alabama's getting 6.5 against Indiana. That's in the Rose Bowl, of course. You know, I think Indiana's discipline will beat Alabama. That's what I would think. I would take Indiana in that game. Oregon, minus 2.5 against Texas Tech. I picked Texas Tech in a pool, so I'm sticking with them. And then the Ole Miss is 6.5 underdog against Georgia. I wonder what that spread would be if Lane Kiffin was still there. I think this is a game where it shows up, and Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football right now. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth, but it's true. He is. And I just think he's going against a guy who's only coached one game. So I think Georgia will take care of business there. All right. Let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5. And that is, of course, Kyle Whittingham going to Michigan. And, that was kind of a stunner when the first story came out, and you kind of went, oh, well, then that's going to happen. There's no question. As soon as there was interest, you knew it was going to happen. The Whittingham thing is a weird deal. Utah, I guess, just basically asked him, are you going to retire? Are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? We want you to retire. And I think when it got to that point, he went, I'm out, and I'm not done coaching. Whether there were back channels even before he retired or announced his retirement with Michigan, who knows? But I mean, I think the carousel is finally over. But who knows what'll happen in the next week? I mean, college football has been the newsiest thing. I know that people will say, well, the politics of Ukraine, blah, blah. No, college football has been the news I have paid attention to over the last month that has just been spectacularly fun to talk about on shows like this one. So it's been weird, and it's been great. You know, USC canceling the Notre Dame series. The USC pissed off about Notre Dame, and what is wrong with you? That's a game I tune into all the time. You don't even have to be good, but hey, they want to go. You know what they want to do? They want to go 12-0 and play nobody. Now you can't do that because you're going to have to play somebody. But they want to get us the right schedule in their conference in the Big Ten, and then softies outside, because strength of schedule is still a blurry vision right now for the committee. The committee, you can't tell whether it's important or not. All right. Let us get to our number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, which we do every Monday. It is Christine and Steve Wendig present the Olympic Gator of the Weekend, and we do that. And, of course, they're from Boss Hart Realty. They do a great job over there. Give them a call at Boss Hart Realty, Steve and Christine Wendig, and they support women's sports as we do. And our Olympic Gator of the Weekend is Layla Reynolds, who had a big game. She filled the box score up. There's no question about that. 17 points, 5 rebounds, 8 for 16 shooting, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block shot for Florida as they beat Furman 82-66. They opened their conference schedule Thursday on New Year's Day at 2 p.m. Against Tennessee. I looked. I could not find anywhere where it said it was on TV. That seems stunning to me if it's true. I mean, Tennessee's got a really good team, but there's so much going on, I guess. Maybe not. We'll see how that works out. All right. But appreciate Christine and Steve Wendig and appreciate Layla Reynolds. And let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, Coach Spurrier will join us. Don't forget, Chris Harry will be doing Yes, No, Where, or Maybe on the other side of that. This is another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hey, Gator fans, the holidays are here, and you know what that means. Great food everywhere. Pies, cookies, all the food we just can't resist. But here's the thing. You don't have to give it all up to lose weight and be healthy this holiday season. BMI TeleMed can help you enjoy the holidays and keep your weight on track. Their medical weight loss program gives you the medication and the support and the guidance you need. You can still enjoy the holiday food. You'll just eat less of it. So you can actually lose weight and not add the pounds most of us do this time of year. Start the new year ahead of the game. Visit our friends and Gator alums, Charlie Gonzalez and Bob Parado, at bmitelemed.com to learn more. That's BMI TeleMed, achieve and maintain.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the hippie attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
At Royal Blue, we believe our resumes as yacht brokers consist of not only the type of boats we list, but also the condition of those boats as well. If you see a boat listed as a sale with Royal Blue Yacht Sales, you can have faith that it will be very well kept and in extremely good condition. Passionate about delivering exceptional boating experiences in Florida, Royal Blue excels in tailoring boat buying for selling solutions to fit your needs. With 15 years in prior boat sales experience and over $65 million in sales, Royal Blue is devoted to making your boat ownership a dream reality. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And, of course, Meldon Law also sponsors Coach Spurrier's appearances on our show, and it's good to have you back. It's good for me to be back. We took a little bit of time off. I hope you had a great Christmas, and hope everything went well.
Yeah, everything thus far has gone pretty well. Gators got a new football coach, John Summerall, and they're getting rounded up and going at it again right now. I guess, is there still some recruiting or mostly the transfer portal?
Well, you're recruiting the portal now,
the
yeah.
portal
You're recruiting
time.
for next year now, and they've already, it appears to have a little bit of momentum going. We'll see how it goes.
But bowl season's here, and
Yep.
playoff games are coming up. The big ones are starting
Wednesday and
New Year's
Thursday,
Eve.
yeah.
Yeah, New Year's Eve day, and then the next day and so forth. So it'll be interesting. But it's sort of interesting, Pat. I got up today and I was thinking about the bowl games. You know, everybody, the bowls are out of date, blah blah blah. And when I first, my first bowl game, I guess was at Duke, and I'm coming to Florida the day after the game, so I tell our team, I said, fellas, I love you. I got a chance to go to my alma mater, and I'm taking the Florida job, and tomorrow will be our last game together. And I remember I yelled at one of the guys who was loafing on a kickoff return. He looked at me like, you ain't my coach anymore. No. So anyway, we got clobbered by Texas Tech. Spike Dykes. Oh, he had a good team. Their running back ran for 280, I think, against us. But anyway, so I came on down here to Florida.
Was that in Birmingham? I'm trying to think where
yeah,
it was.
It was in Birmingham. Yeah, it was in Birmingham. So anyway, but after I got down here, we lost the first bowl game, Notre Dame, after winning the SEC. So I'm sitting there 0-2 in bowl games. I said, damn, I need to get my bowl record. I mean, I wanted to have a winning record. So we beat NC State in the Gator Bowl.
Yep.
Gator Bowl was my first win. And then I ended up actually 6-5 here at Florida with the bowl records. Obviously, the National Championship Sugar Bowl was the biggest. But there was a lot of good ones in there. And most the highlight ones I wrote down occurred when I was in South Carolina. We had lost like 3 in a row. So I was like 3 games behind in bowl record. Mm-hmm. And somehow or another, the Gamecocks, we won 4 in a row. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
If every game's 50-50 and you go 4 in a row, the odds on it are about 6-7%, something like that.
Well, that allowed you to get to 11 wins, too,
yeah,
for those straight years.
Got me to 11 wins, my favorite number 11, and 10 losses. And in the process, though, we beat Michigan down at the Outback Bowl.
That was a Jadeveon Clowney game, wasn't it? Yeah.
Win number, and we beat Michigan, and we scored with 11 seconds left. Hit a touchdown pass with 11 seconds to come from behind to beat Michigan. And then we beat Nebraska, and that was my 11th bowl win, down at the Capital One Bowl in Orlando. And then finally, we beat Miami the last year, and that was a big one because I'm sitting there at 10-10, so I'm either going to have a losing record, I'm going to be one up. And we held on to beat Miami 24-21. And I remember when we got there, it was a cold weekend. And,
yeah. That's when I knew you had a chance because Miami doesn't handle that very good.
Well, what happened, we got there and took off and worked out. It was freezing. It was 35 degrees or something. The guys were looking at me, and I said, hey, we're going to get ready for this game, fellas.
Yeah.
So they wanted it also. And so we held on and beat them 24-21. So anyway, that's my bowl record. And winning 11, losing 10. And it'd be interesting. A lot of coaches that are successful have a losing bowl record.
Yep.
So it's
some coaches have a knack for winning those games too. You know?
Well, the schools that were independent,
Yeah.
like when FSU was independent, they won about all the bowl games. And Joe Paterno, when they were independent, they won most all of them. Of course, everything's changed nowadays.
Now I look at the bowls and I go, I'll watch them because I'm a big football fan, but I don't like it when people start comparing conferences based on the bowl games because half the time the coach isn't there. You know, he's been fired or left for another job. Players have opted out. This isn't the team that was ranked.
Yeah, it is completely different, and you got to admire the teams that come to play.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Penn State, they came to play against Clemson.
They did.
And,
that was a fun game to watch.
Gave them a good beating, and all the critics are all over Clemson right now because they were picked like top 10 in the nation in preseason.
Three or two. I think Penn State was 2, and they were 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think they were. So I heard them talking on the radio about all the preseason picks and how wrong they were. Penn State, Clemson, LSU. Seemed like there was one other in there that didn't even finish in the top 25. But, you got to go play the games. We all know that now. And one team that you think might be pretty good doesn't necessarily mean they are.
Yeah.
It's a different day in college football. And it gives everybody a chance. Look at Indiana, what they've done. Man, I give Signetti all the credit in the world for the staff he's built there and the players and the mental attitude those guys have. Shoot, they think they're just as good as anybody.
Yeah, I know.
And they may prove it during the playoffs here.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's got to have talent. You can't win without talent, but it's how you inspire or get those guys. And not only that, but putting them in position to take advantage of their talent. I mean, that's what the coaching is. It's inspiration and making sure that you got guys where they need to be.
But what these bowl games did for me personally, every time I see somebody from Nebraska, Tommy Frazier, I see him at the Hall of Fame event and this, that, and the other. And they clobbered us, in the 95 national championship game. But I tell Tommy, I said, listen, I'm even with Nebraska now. We beat you down in the Citrus Bowl in 2011, I think it was. Yeah, we beat Nebraska. And then we beat Miami, and they had beaten us in the Sugar Bowl after the 2000 season. So anyway, I'm happy to be one up in bowl games.
Yep, there you go. Let's talk a little bit. Well, actually, let's go ahead and play our Campus USA play of the weekend because this was from a bowl game, and this was the Army players trying to chase down Jeff Monken.
I didn't know he could run that well. I tell you what, he's running in circles, carrying that.
I think I would have
torn it. The guy had to grab him. The guy had to grab him. Oh, man, that's cruel. But anyway,
they knocked him down.
He's a good guy.
I would have torn an ACL doing that, I think.
Jeff Monken, I didn't know he could run like that. He plays in the Chick-fil-A golf tournament every year, Reynolds Plantation. And I think he tells me that's the only weekend a year he plays, I think. These guys don't play much golf at all, but they come for that event at Reynolds Plantation.
Yeah. Well, our play of the weekend is brought to you, of course, by Campus USA. We appreciate them so much. And, Coach, you had a few Gatorade baths in your time. How many? You ever count up
a few?
How many you had?
Just a few. Well, first of all, I had to tell our team when we beat Georgia that first game. Huey Richardson and Mark Murray, our starting defensive end, with about a minute left, they hit me. We were way ahead, 38-7 or something. Yeah. And they hit me with it a little bit. I said, fellas, you're supposed to say this for either winning a championship or win the bowl game.
Yeah.
That's when you hit the coach with the Gatorade bucket. So anyway, there was about a minute left, and I snuck over there and they were standing there watching the end of the game. All the backups were in. And I sort of hit both of them with that Gatorade bucket. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I told them, I said, it's not so funny when you don't know it's coming. But what
because you used to put a windbreaker on
it. Yeah. I had Jamie Spronis bring the windbreaker down there. Yeah. And I said, if we're well ahead here with a minute or so left, I'll put the windbreaker on, like right there.
Yep.
See that picture?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. It does not hurt with the windbreaker. So anyway. Got a little bit on my neck there.
There's another,
There's another windbreaker. Yeah. Jamie was pretty good at keeping that windbreaker handy right there.
Well, I can't remember. In '96, did you get it after the national championship?
Yeah, they hit me a little bit. Yeah, I had the windbreaker.
I was trying to write so fast, I don't think I looked up to see that because that was a late game. I remember you bringing the team back on the field to take everybody get their team picture. Yeah. Because you had forgotten about it. And you said, we got to get our team pictures. So some of the guys were already in the locker room.
Yeah, actually we took one up at Kentucky in 90 also. And then 91 here, beat Kentucky again to win the SEC both those years. And then after that we had the championship game. So, they usually hit me with it all those championship games,
All right. Well, before we let you go, I do want to talk about the college football playoff and kind of go through the 4 games real quick and get your take. Ohio State, Miami, the Wednesday night game. How do you feel about New Year's Eve on a Wednesday night being to me, they need to lump them all together. And New Eisel was saying that today. Have 4 games on one day.
Well, they could, but for television purposes.
Yeah. Well, they want what they want.
Yeah, 3 is probably plenty. Starting at 12, 4, and 8. Yeah. So, the games they should be good. Should be interesting. And
you think Ohio State is a big favorite over Miami? You think they take care of them?
That's hard to say. I hate to pick that one. See, it's in Dallas, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's in. Yeah.
I mean,
Ohio
Dallas. State. I just hadn't seen them. They scored 10 points against Indiana, 13-10, and Miami can play defense. I think it's a toss-up game.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think it's 9.5. I can tell you that. Yeah. Alabama, Indiana. That should be an interesting game, and then Oregon, obviously against Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. They had a pool going, and I picked Texas Tech was my team, so I'm rooting for them. They get they do a good job offensively and defensively.
They have built a nice roster there, and they may be one of the highest spending teams. They don't tell you what everybody spends, but certainly all the teams that are still playing they're near the top spending their money.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I would like to see that transparency. Well,
Yeah.
we know exactly what everybody's getting.
Yeah, they ought to.
Instead of just rumors coming out, he's getting 6, he's getting 5. That's the other thing. We were told that it's unsustainable, this paying the
Format we're
players.
doing?
And guess what? The prices keep going up for what you
And
have
nobody
to pay
does
them.
a dang thing about it either. Yep. But I tell you another interesting. I read an article about obviously Tulane, Coach Summerall's team, and James Madison virtually had no chance. And the guy made a point. He said the size of the players nowadays, especially at the Power 5 conferences.
yeah.
Oh, the other guys looked like a bunch of junior high players out there. And when I went up to watch South Carolina play Alabama, pregame warm-ups were on the sideline, shaking hands, blah, blah. But the size of the players, when you're down there right next to them, I mean, they're 6'6", 320, almost every lineman, it seems like. And on both teams.
Yeah.
South Carolina's got big dudes also. They just couldn't find a way to win this year. But size, the Power 4 schools, they're just so much bigger than the other schools.
Yeah, I saw too. You know, it's funny because Billy Napier took over up at James Madison. Their entire offense is gone. They're all 11
Yeah,
starters.
all 11.
They're either in the portal or they graduated. So good luck to Billy on that, but that's not going to be easy
Yeah,
because
these
they
coaches,
expect to win up there. They expect to
yeah.
win.
Yeah, these coaches, they don't have much of an off season now. It's
No.
just making calls and working contracts, I guess, with hopefully the players they got coming in.
The last game of on Thursday is the Ole Miss Georgia game, and I'm trying to figure out who I'm rooting for there because I usually root against Georgia, but that'll be an interesting game too.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I think Ole Miss has a chance. I really do. Last year the 4 teams that had the byes of the first round, they all 4 lost.
Yep.
When it was their turn to play. Now, Georgia had a chance to play in the SEC championship game, which I think is beneficial for them. So they've only been out for 2 weeks. These teams that didn't have the championship game, they've been out for 3 weeks now. So that time off, it affects some teams, and we'll just have to wait and see if it affects them on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We have, 10 days between games anyway, and then you also, some of these teams haven't played forever. It almost feels like a bowl game for them. And I don't know how you have a game plan for that, how you figure out what to do. Send them home for Christmas, but bring them back, and it's hard. It's part of being the coach.
It's a different deal. You got to stay alert and practice, but you can't practice full go 3 weeks before a game. But these coaches know how to do it.
Yeah.
They just keep them mentally into the game. And all right, we got 2 weeks before we play. Don't get ready to play this week. Slightly get ready that week, and then this week it's going to be just like a normal week. So they know how to handle that and so forth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I still like the bowl games. I think this one reason it's not as interesting this year is there's 5 SEC teams got into the playoffs, so there weren't the bowl games trickling down. The good teams we wanted to watch, but sometimes you watch these games and it lets young guys play. Okay, that's what it is. Everybody who wants to get rid of these bowl games, I'm like, what are you talking about? ESPN wants them. They're paying for them. They need content.
Yep.
They need something on their channel.
Yeah. And Tennessee, they're playing in Nashville again, so they'll have a big crowd there. And Illinois coming in, that'd be an interesting game.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
So I'm sure Tennessee, they want to win that one. It's not like just an extra game. They need to win in front of their home crowd. Their home crowd's not real happy because they lose 4 games this year, 8-4, which is be pretty good around here lately, wouldn't it?
Well, that's the thing. I look at these 8-4 teams that are complaining. I'm like, I used to complain about those too. But and when you were coaching, I never had those.
Never
years.
had an 84. Had 1-9-4.
Yeah.
99.
And that was losing that.
We lost the last 4 games of the season. Here's a trivia question. In my 12 years here at Florida, what opponent held us to our least amount of points? We won a game by scoring 13 points. Who was the opponent?
Won a game by scoring 13?
Yep.
It wasn't Southern. Southern Miss was 20. I don't know the answer.
It was Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's right. 13-6.
Vanderbilt of 99. Yeah, that was the one we won the game, but we'd lost to Alabama that 40-39 the week before. But anyway, we lost.
On the missed extra point, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Vanderbilt held us to our lowest total. That means we were not quite ready to play that day. Bad by our coaches.
They gave you fits in '96 too, in
a little
that 28-21 game.
They sure did.
You had to go for that 4th and 1 on your own 29.
And I remember Tim Tebow telling me one time the 06 team, we had to win at Vandy and then win the SEC championship. He said, I'm on the hands team. I think we won like 24-19 or something like that. And he said, if I don't get that onside kick, Vandy's probably going to beat us. And, or could have beat them. But we got the onside. I think that was 06 probably, that team.
And I'm sure most of our listeners understand this. Back in those days, Vandy wasn't any good. Now Vandy's gotten to be good, but they weren't.
They always had some good players.
But they always had
a few good players and so forth. They really did.
And they would give Georgia fits too, and sometimes beat them. All right, Coach, you got anything else?
That's about it. Basketball, bowl game, playoff games. We don't have
bowl games too.
In bowls, yeah. But there are some more.
Yeah, we got Michigan, Texas on.
Yeah, that one's going to be
Thursday,
a good one.
Yeah.
And Michigan, Texas down in the Citrus Bowl.
Biff Poggi is coaching the interim coach.
Yeah, Kyle Willingham got the job. I think he's an excellent
Do you know him
hire.
at all?
Oh, yeah, know him very well. He's Utah was with Under Armour back when I was in South Carolina. So saw him on all the trips and so forth. But, he's a good coach, good guy, and I think they made a good hire there, real good hire.
I do too. They need somebody to come in and clean up the mess. Neuheisel was saying he talked Whittingham into playing golf, and now Whittingham's addicted to it. Now he loves it, but he's not any good.
No, he's decent, but he would the Under Armour trips.
Yeah,
he'd play in the golf events like most all of us would. That's a non-existent thing now for football coaches to have golf tournaments. I guess unbelievable.
I know. It's like the only one they have is that one up in at Reynolds Plantation, and that is a lot of former coaches. It's Urban and you and guys like that. I mean, Kirby plays in it. Yeah.
Hugh Freeze called a lot of crap about just playing golf.
Well, he played the
Late
next
in the
day
afternoon,
too.
go out and play 9 holes. What are you doing out here? Well, I've been working for 8 hours. Can't I have 2 hours to play golf?
Yeah, but you can't go 5 and 7 if you do that.
That's exactly right. Yeah, everybody can't win, though.
No,
there was
that is a good point.
There was close to 30 new coaches hired this year, and the social media. I was looking at my phone today, and they had a list of them. Summerall was number 4, which is pretty dang good out of 30. But they had James Franklin at number 1 and Kiffin number 2, which is, I guess, the bigger name and so forth. But it was interesting, Franklin being number 1, and he might have been the only one of the group that got fired this year. But I get his resume.
Well, the thing about Franklin is I think it's because he went to Virginia Tech. If he had gone to, say, Michigan or something like that, you may not put him number 1. Yeah. But because he went to Virginia Tech and they've been down for a while, they can't get back to that Beamer years, Frank Beamer years and everything like that. By the way, I wanted to ask you that before we leave. Where are we on the new coach award that you guys give out?
Well, there's not a lot of choices this year, but still, former Gator Dan Mullen is right in the top 3. I will say that right now. And the other guys you probably never heard of.
Well, I've heard of every coach. Yeah.
Well, who's the coach at Kennesaw State?
I know him. I can see him. But
he's in the running.
Oh yeah.
I think he was 6 and 5 or 6 and.
He had an unbelievable year.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure his record, but anyway.
Jerry Mack.
Jerry Mack, yeah, that's right.
Name?
Jerry
Okay.
Mack. I think they went 11-2, something like that.
I don't think they did that well, but you may. I'm not 100%.
Well, they used to be a laughing stock, yeah.
Kennesaw
So I think
State,
when you bring them up like that, we'll see.
All right, we got basketball tonight. We played Dartmouth.
That's right, Dartmouth.
Are they any good? Do we know?
No, Florida's 37.5-point favorite.
37. Okay. All right.
But we'll see how they do.
Yeah, we need some of those games. I wish we'd had some of those a little earlier and then played the bigger boys,
Yeah.
a little later. But it evens out in basketball.
It does.
I remember we lost a close one to a real good team early, and I said that may help us in the long run.
Yeah.
But in football, you lose a 1-point game,
Yeah.
that ain't gonna help.
No.
What's your record at the end of the year? Just like Texas, if they hadn't played Ohio State, would they have made the playoffs? Well, they beat A&M that last game, and they used to say you're only as good as your last game, so they probably would have made it this year.
Shouldn't have lost to Florida either. That's
Yeah, that hurt them too, but they didn't have to play Ohio State.
No.
Which is someday.
Well, and that's like Notre Dame now, or USC is pulled out of the Notre Dame series because they go, "Wait, we don't think it's going to help us." And I'm like,
yeah. In hindsight, our schedule was almost unfair to Billy Napier. We had 8 conference games, and then you got FSU and Miami and South Florida that had a good team this year. And so anyway, that's the way it was.
Yep,
But,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it ends up being that way, and we'll see what happens going forward. You'll be back next Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be right here, ready to go Monday.
All right, we'll be back then. He'll be back then, and we'll be back with more of another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Coach, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Robbie, of course, is snowed in Butte or wherever he is. I don't even know what city he's in. Somewhere out there in the Jackson Hole area. But he's coming back tonight. So we upgraded, and we brought in the great Chris Harry to talk a little bit of sports on Yes, Nowhere. Maybe. Chris, how are you? How was your Christmas?
Good morning, Pat. Christmas was great. Got time with the family. Only a couple, bracketed with a couple basketball games. I guess we're talking Monday. I don't know when people will be watching this, but got the last game before the Southeastern Conference starts tonight. So far so good. We'll have a good New Year's Eve, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be hanging out with you.
Yep. Well, we're working on that.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get my wife on board with some things.
I understand.
You know how that goes.
That could be a tug of war. Yep.
This was gonna be one of my yes, nowhere, maybe questions, but I'll just talk to you about it, and that is, Florida's only gonna be as good as Xavier Lee is. Would that be a yes, nowhere, maybe for you?
Are we doing yes, no, maybe now?
No, we're not doing it yet.
It's just a question.
Yeah, it's just a question.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lay it all on that guy's lap. What about Boogie Flan? Boogie Flan probably needs to pick up his game a little bit. I think if you stuck a microphone in his face, he might even say that. Florida has a lot of things they really need to improve on, and I just don't know, how if you keep shooting 3-pointers at 28%, that's not sustainable. The worst 3-point percentage team in Florida basketball history was Mike White's last team at 30.3%, and you just have to be better than that, and that's quite frankly those are conversations the team's having. So you can say, okay, fresh start going in the SEC season, but we're talking 12 games to date at that number, and that's not a small sample size at all. It needs to get better.
Yep, absolutely. And obviously limit the turnovers. I mean, it's fundamental basketball. Make shots, don't turn the ball over. Don't have empty possessions. Yeah.
They're going to be in games, Pat, because defensively they're very, very sound, and I think they've done a really good job. They had some games early in the season where, specifically the Arizona game and the TCU game, where their interior defense wasn't good at all, and it was really surprising given the front court and how much ballyhooed the return of all those guys was. But that's been addressed, and it's been a lot better, and it needs to either stay that way or improve.
Ruben Chenyulu, it feels like he's Mr. Gadget. Like his arms are so long, and he gets so many big boy rebounds.
Right, and a lot of them on the offensive end too. And he's become everything that they envisioned him when they brought him from Washington State. He's much better offensively than he was a year ago. He's starting to get that jump hook down a little bit. He's making it a little farther away from the basket. He's fantastic when it comes to those duck-ins, the clear out ways for really Walter and Elijah were able to take advantage of that stuff last year, but nobody's getting around him if he does duck in and do those screens. Sometimes they're called illegal, very rarely, because he just moves the guy out of the way however he wants to. So he's really a strength on both ends of the floor. He's having a great season. Leads the league in rebounding, I think.
Yeah, he does. Chris Harry, of course, from FloridaGators.com, joining us on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. It is time to play Yes, No, Where, or Maybe with him, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Street dining done the right way. Go over there and get a sub, get anything you want, and you get free fries with your order if you mention that you listen to or watch another duly noted podcast. All right, here we go. I almost said Robbie.
You almost did. You did say Robbie, actually.
I did. I miss Robbie. He's.
I miss Robbie too.
Yeah.
I miss Robbie too.
All right, Chris, Harry, let's go. Number one on our Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Leonardo has Florida as a 5 seed in his early bracketology. Is that too high?
No, I wouldn't say it's too high right now, given the schedule. I mean, Florida's still, I believe, the betting favorite to win the SEC right now, heading into the season. But I'll go back to that statistic I just cited. 28.3% from 3-point range has to be better. I mean, you're not going to win games in the NCAA tournament if you're shooting that kind of number. That's a long way off. But having said that, 5 seed would be a real disappointment for this team. I can tell you that right now, because they got to be in the top. They have to be a 4 seed to get to play in Tampa. And you play in Tampa, that's a whole game changer in terms of a launching pad into the tournament. That's the goal, and it's got to be a 4 seed or higher for them to get there.
I've been to that tournament when I was in Tampa, and
absolutely
SEC
anything in Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville has always been good for the Gators. Miami has always been good for the Gators when they played at home, with the exception of maybe that one year when they played Michigan State down there in Tampa. It's a good place to be. It's where they want.
All right, we let's go to number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Vanderbilt, which is 12-0, and yet to play an AP ranked team, is legit.
Yeah, I say they're legit, Pat, because I don't know if they may not have played an AP ranked team, but they're 3-0 in quad ones, and I think they've played 6 games against top 60 Ken Palm teams, and they've won them all. So until someone proves it otherwise. They're scoring a bunch of points. Mark Byington, who came from James Madison last year, is a really, really well thought of coach. He runs some good stuff offensively. They have one of the best transfers in the country in Duke Miles by way of Oklahoma. They're legit, and they're the only undefeated team in the SEC right now. This time last year, remember, they had 3 teams going in the conference play that were 13-0: Florida, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. Vanderbilt's the only undefeated team to date. So, yeah, let's give them the benefit of the doubt right now to be sure. They won the battle for Atlantis. They've beaten teams. Yeah. They've beaten whoever they've lined up. So good test going into the first week.
All right, let's get to number 3 on yes, nowhere, maybe, and that is that even with your Commanders out, the NFL playoffs feel intriguing.
Well, they would be less intriguing if they were in. Okay, they're terrible.
They are good.
I mean,
they got one player, and he's hurt all the time.
No, they got more. They got more than one. They're always hurt. We're a long way from last year. So yeah, of course, it's the King, Pat. Come on. Did anybody who's watching that Sunday night game, that Bears 49ers game? That was a fantastic football game, man. Just back and forth, like a table tennis game. And then earlier we were over at Mother's last night. Cindy and I watching the end of the Eagles Buffalo game was probably people would think it's a dog game if they watch it 13-0, but the elements and all that stuff in the fourth quarter that played out, the missed 2-point conversion with 1 second left, that's fantastic football. So yes, you're asking the wrong guy if a NFL playoffs is going to be intriguing, because that division round and the conference round are some of the best sporting weekends of the season. So yes, I'm all for that.
I watched every game that was on TV yesterday on both channels, and I had a great time watching them. They were great games. Chris, thanks for filling in for Robbie. We appreciate you, and we will be reading your stuff at FloridaGators.com, especially tonight after the Florida-Dartmouth game.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year, Pat.
All right. Well, appreciate Chris Harry for coming on today. Yeah, because on Sunday I was sitting there, because Robbie had been sending me all these pictures of the snow and everything, and they're having a great time out there. And I said, I bet you Robbie's not going to be back. Well, he's coming back today, but he's not coming back till 10 o'clock at night and flying into Orlando. I don't think he could do the podcast. But Chris Harry filling in was great on Yes, Nowhere, maybe. Appreciate him. All right, let's get to our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Weekend is brought to you by Adams Rib Company, the place to go for all your barbecue needs. Of course, Fridays, Nana's Nuggets, those are great as well. Everything there is great. Let's get to our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Weekend, and it is my man Shamir DK. Now, he's won this award before, but if he wants to come up here, and we'll treat him to lunch. But Shamir DK broke a record. You may have seen this on TV, but he broke an NFL record for the most all-purpose yards by a rookie in the history of the NFL. That's pretty cool that he did that. And I think he got voted into the Pro Bowl too. Yeah. So pretty good time for him for playing for a bad team. But and the record he broke was Tim Brown's, who's in the Hall of Fame. Somebody wrote Jim Brown and Hall of Famer Jim Brown. I went, no, I think it's Tim, because Tim Brown was a big-time returner as well. Jim Brown is the best running back of all time, in my opinion. But I got to see him play. So anyway, Shamir DK, what a year he had. I got to be honest with you. I don't think anybody sat there and went, oh, Shamir DK's going to be the guy we're going to talk about this year in the NFL that was a Florida grad. So, but he is. He's been unbelievable all year, and what a great year he's had, returning kicks especially. I think he's had 60 kickoff returns. Now, what does that tell you? They have to get too many kickoff returns because their defense is not playing well. All right, let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend, brought to you by our friends at BMI TeleMed. Achieve and maintain with the weight loss specialists. 727-383-1677 is how to reach them, and you get 20% off your order if you sign up with BMI TeleMed. We have already had people lose 18 billion pounds so far. Wasn't that the number they threw out there the other day?
I think so.
Yeah, some kind of billions that it would be impossible. Anyway, our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend were the Cleveland Browns. I watched that entire game yesterday just because I was interested in a game where one team with nothing to play for played its butt off. And that was so much fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, what'd they win? They won 3 games, 4 games now?
They have now won 4 games.
They have now won 4 games. And you didn't like it because they beat your Steelers. I know that.
That's correct.
Yes. But I still had to give them props for playing that hard. I know the Steelers wish they hadn't played hard. But
the Steelers were too enamored with keeping Myles Garrett from breaking.
Exactly.
That's all they cared about.
Exactly.
They also were out all their top pass catchers.
Yeah, they were, but he had 2 guys on him every game.
Yeah.
They weren't going to let him get the record. Rodgers was making quicker throws even than he normally does. And so they, instead of running their offense, they worried about Myles Garrett. They don't want him to get, and that's probably a little bit of ego on your boy's part, I think.
It is.
Yeah, he wasn't going to.
They don't want him to break T.J. Watt's record on him.
Yeah, and he did.
His team, I guess.
He didn't want to do a Brett Favre and just fall down.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, the Cleveland Browns are our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the week, and I knew you would not like that, but I still had to go with it. All right, let's move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. Of course, we appreciate our friend Kyle Cohen at Leonardo's at Millhopper, and we appreciate anybody who goes in there and gets a dual sandwich because it's the best. I think I am due for a duels. I think I'm going in there this week. So our quick pick is going to be an easy one to qualify. I'm not saying it's easy pick. It's a hard pick to me, but it's just one game, and this is the one we're going to give you, and it's Ohio State minus 9.5 against Miami in the Cotton Bowl. So all you got to do is say Ohio State or Miami. Send it to patrickdooley54@gmail.com. Also, any advertising if you're interested in doing, at that same email address, patrickdooley54@gmail.com. And we'll qualify anybody who gets it right for our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. We will be doing another drawing pretty soon, not far away. We can't do the Thursday games because that would just be too many games. And by Thursday, nobody can get it in time. So we'll have something else on Thursday. But anyway, I think you see my point. I think I'm talking too much. But this is a talk venue. So let's get to our Gallo Car Wash sponge of the weekend. And this one was another game I only saw the very end of, but I saw it, and I could not believe it. I don't think I've ever seen it. I'm sure it's happened before, but I don't think I've ever seen this happen. But the sponge of the weekend is the Carolina Panthers. Now, what if you watch the game or if you watch the end of it? They're down 27-10. They kneeled 3 times at the end of the game. They go, we're done. We can't win the game. We know that. There was 2 minutes to go. We can't win the game, and we don't want to get anybody hurt because we got a huge game now next week because this is an L. It's already an L. So I'm calling it a smart move. Even though after they ended up turning it over on downs because they kneeled on 4th down, and then the Seahawks had to come out and kneel themselves. And they were calling it the victory formation. Well, it wasn't a victory formation when Carolina was doing it, but in retrospect, when it first happened, I started screaming at the TV. Like, what are you doing? How can you do that? At least put your back up in and throw a hail. No, now I think about it, pretty smart move. So they are the Gallo Car Wash sponge of the week. And we'll talk a little bit later about that game they have coming up. All right, let's move along to our Learner Law presents our Gator Club team of the weekend. I talked to Matt Lerner. Of course, Matt Lerner is your trusted partner for Florida real estate. If you want to close a real estate deal, go to Learner Law. It's the place to go, MatthewLerner.com. I talked to him about it, and everybody's on break right now, so because of the winter break. But look, we have so many club teams in this area for the University of Florida, and we just want to support them and support everything they do. And we'll They're getting ready to crank it back up. And that is the thing. This is like, to me, coming up to the busiest time of the year around Gainesville. Because all of a sudden gymnastics goes going, softball, baseball. This is the best time of the year for that stuff. Now, I love football the most, but I haven't had a lot of fun at football lately. Anyway, I think you get my drift. All right, let's move along to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, brought to you by our great friends at Hesser and Kipke for all your workers' compensation and family law needs. It is a place to go. Jennifer and Ken will, I almost forgot his name for a minute there. Jennifer and Ken will take care of you. Of course, 352-339-9920. I was texting with him. He was out in Southern Cal, and I was like, that's ironic because my daughter lives in Southern California, and she's with us in Bimini. So we kind of switched places. Anyway, our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Number 1 is maybe I need to start rooting for the Jaguars because I've been anti-Jaguar for most of my life, and it's a long, long story that you'll never be able to figure out. Bianchi gives me a hard time about it all the time. He goes, you need to become a Jaguar fan. And I'm like, man, I like Liam Cohen. I like what he's doing. He has done something nobody's ever done. Take a 4-1 team, make them a 12-1 team. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And they're in 75 miles away. I should not be so anti-Jaguar. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. But 7 straight wins and a 12-4 record. Now, the reason I won't jump on the bandwagon is when they don't seem to ever play anybody. They got a 4-12 schedule or 4-13 schedule. And I think that might bite them a little bit in the playoffs. But, hey, I think it's cool that a team in our state, in that area of the country, is that good. And I should be more supportive of them, and I will be. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm gonna not hate the Jaguars anymore. How about that?
That's kind of where I am.
Yeah. I'm just gonna enjoy it. It's kind of like with the Patriots. The Patriots were the most hated team in football. This team everybody loves, and I'm with you. I root for the Patriots because I like Vrabel and I like the players on their team. I love Drake May in college, and that's the thing about the NFL. You kind of, it's not as much rooting for the laundry. Now you're rooting for the laundry. You're rooting for the black and gold.
Yeah.
But I don't have a team, so maybe the Jaguars and the Patriots will be my teams this year. Chiefs, of course, were kind of my team, but when you're not in the playoffs, there's no reason to be your team anymore. All right, let's move along to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is the Bucks losing to Miami. And unfortunately, Tampa Bay's playing Miami. You would think that game would be on in Gainesville, Florida, which is in Florida, but it was not. But anyway, Tampa Bay loses another game. They've lost 7 of their last 8. Can't get it going. I still have a chance for the playoffs, though. All they got to do is if Atlanta doesn't win their last 2, and they beat Carolina, Tampa Bay does, they still get into the playoffs. And that game is, I think, got. I'm trying to remember where it moved to. One of the games got moved to the night game. I think that was the Ravens.
Sunday night.
Ravens Steelers for that division.
Maybe Saturday.
No, I think it's still Sunday.
I'm talking about the Carolina.
Oh, Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina and Tampa Saturday at 4:30.
Okay, there you go.
Steelers Ravens Sunday night.
Beautiful. Okay, thanks. I did not catch that, but that's why I have Zach here to straighten things out. Yeah. So anyway, it's really interesting to see what's going on there. And so I guess the NFL got its wish in that they have 2 games that are, for playoff berths, and that they had a chance of having none. So they didn't want that. But they do have they have that, so that's good for them. All right. Like they need more help. Number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things is, who would you vote for Coach of the Year in the NFL? Because I think there are a lot of good candidates, and I don't, like, for example, Liam Cohen, of course, Shanahan, with all the injuries they've had, to be right now they're the number 1 seed, I think, right?
They're in another, they got to face the Seahawks for the 1 seed.
Okay, they're playing, that's right, yeah. McDonald at Seattle, I mean, he's done a great job. And Vrabel. I mean, if you voted for any of those guys, I would say, okay, I can live with that. But that's what happens when you have so much turnover in the NFL is you got all new coaches, and all new coaches are coming into bad situations. But really, is there a bad situation in the NFL? Yes, it's called the Jets, Jets. Thank God I'm not a fan of that team. Anyway, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. We move to our next segment, which is the Mark Guide of Pepin Realty present the 12. Brought to you by our good friend Mark Guide over at Pepin Realty. We appreciate him so much for being part of this. Today, our 12 will be my rankings of the NFL teams right now, in my opinion. Again, we're 1 week away from the playoffs starting. Well, 1 week of games away from the playoffs starting. But here's how I would go. Seattle at 1. I think Seattle's the best team. But I know everybody wants to rip on Sam Darnold, but I think he learned from last year's finish of the season, and I think he's better for it. Watch out for Seattle. I put Jacksonville at number 2, San Francisco at 3, New England at 4, Denver at 5. I cannot accept a team that has Bo Nix as their quarterback. There's just something about him that I just know he's going to screw it up. Rams at 6, Eagles at 7, the Bears at 8. Bears playing some good football. Texans at 9, Bills at 10, Green Bay when they have Jordan Love at 11. Now, when they don't have Jordan Love, they're not very good, as we saw. And then the Ravens at 12, you could intersperse them with the Steelers. But I think both of them have issues, and both of them have positives. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's our Mark Guida presents the 12. When every week we'll have a new 12 for you. Some weeks it's going to be the college football 12, which is why we started it that way. But we'll give you some other stuff, including basketball, the best games coming up in basketball, stuff like that. We'll have a lot of fun with it, as we always do. All right, let's wrap it up as we always do with our Swamp Restaurant Games of the Week, brought to you by the great folks at the Swamp Restaurant. They do a tremendous job. Drink specials. Food is incredible. Big screen TVs. It's that kind of time of year when it's 70 and you're sitting there and you're watching a big screen TV and you're going, where else would you rather be than right here at the Swamp Restaurant? All right, let's get by the way, I want to mention this game, even though I know a lot of you don't listen until Tuesday, but Monday, tonight, this afternoon, or it is tonight because it's still not on daylight savings. We passed the solstice, though. We're going the right direction now. It's good. It happened actually on the 21st, I think. Gators play tonight against Dartmouth. It's on the SEC network. Patrick Young is going to be part of that game at 6 p.m. So that'll be cool. That's games tonight. Now, Tuesday, you have some bowl games. All these are on ESPN, unless I say otherwise. Tennessee, Illinois, in the Music City Bowl. That's at 5:30 on ESPN. USC, TCU at 9. The Alamo Bowl. There are other games, but I'm only giving you the highlights. Then Wednesday in Tampa, you have Iowa State at Vanderbilt at noon. What a great day to start off that day. That's a good game to watch. That's on ESPN. The Citrus Bowl is, I'm not giving the names of the sponsors, except Pop-Tarts. Michigan, Texas game is in the Citrus Bowl at 3 o'clock on ABC. And then the Miami, Ohio State game, of course, 7:30 on ESPN. Then Thursday, you have all 3 games. You know what they are. We just went over them. They're all on ESPN as well. And we'll have a lot of fun with those. It's going to be a fun week of sports. It's going to be a fun Thursday show with CI. Can't wait to talk to him. Look forward to it. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate Zach for keeping me straight on everything. He does an amazing job here on the podcast. And I appreciate all of you for listening and making this work for me. And I love doing it. Keeps me going. Keeps me getting up in the mornings. I can tell you that. All right. That's going to do it for our podcast. Thanks again to Coach Spurrier. Thanks again to Chris Harry for joining us. We'll be back with another show Monday. Until then, for another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back. And I am out of here.